Hello, welcome to the next episode of Szybciej i Celniej. This is a Polish podcast mainly about IPSC shooting. It is usually held in Polish. However, today we are forced to use English instead. So the IPSC podcast is in English would be faster and more accurate. This is the direct translation. And today we have a foreign guest. This is Hwansik Kim from USA, also known as the professor. Hello, Hwansik.
Hello, how are you doing?
Fine. Okay, Hwansik, you are actually one of the top production optics, or for those who knows carry optics shooters in the world. But you are also a well-known shooting instructor. Hence also your nickname, right? The professor.
Yes.
Together with Ben Steger, you provide an enormous amount of information, videos, and other sources of knowledge at Practical Shooting Trainings Group.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more about this PSTG?
Yes, PSTG, full name, Practical Shooting Training Group. Some call it PSTG or Training Group, whatever works. Ben and I, we teamed up in 2018 and we launched this training group. Training group is basically website-based training group. We help people find the right material to master shooting, and also we provide coaching. Depends on what type of membership you have. We have the basic membership, bronze membership, where you can see all the materials. Silver membership, you get video feedback one a month, and gold membership, you get weekly feedback video. And you get training plan, like a workout plan. We give you drills. This is your focus. This is your level, etc.
Yeah. Well, this is actually the source where we learned a little bit more about you. And I'm talking we because it was one of my good friends, Piotr Bilon, who actually invited you to Poland, right?
Yes.
And he invited you to make two shooting courses for European shooters, right? Yeah. And also you took part in a level 3 match, which was held in a beautiful village of Rybieniec, a soundy name, Polish one, of course. We are very well known for this kind of easy for foreigners names. Yeah, yeah, but well, the level 3 match was called Autdor match. It's spelled in Polish, but it basically is an outdoor match, outside. You were able to experience the Polish style of building shooting stages, right?
Yes.
Ben Steger was here like 3 years ago, I think, and he was also shooting Polish nationals down there during that time. And he said that it is very typical for Polish matches to have a lot of swingers, a lot of moving targets, and only mini poppers, not normal poppers.
Yeah.
What is your experience on that?
It was actually more difficult than my expectation.
Okay.
Generically saying, when I go shoot a match, I've experienced many matches throughout all around the world. European matches, Asian matches, of course, matches in the US. It was way more balanced than I thought, meaning there were at least about 3 stages that are higher in hit factor.
Yeah.
We're talking about hit factor of 9 and 10. Those almost sounds like pop, 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 pop. Not much stoppage between shooting. And other stages, some are low, like 4 hit factor, 5 hit factor. Some are in the 6, 7 hit factors. So typically when I go to a match in this regions all different, but they have average hit factor, and in the US it's tend to be very high.
Yeah.
It's very rare to shoot anything 5 or below in the US, but over here you had all challenges. You had 10 hit factor, very fast shooting, 4 hit factor, 5 hit factor, where you have to make sure it's accurate. So the challenge wise, stages wise, very nice, very good number of moving targets. There was one stage with one-handed shooting. So this was, in my opinion, perhaps maybe even better than nationals in the US.
Wow,
Hey,
that
yeah.
that had.
I love it.
Kicia, he is the match director. You should be proud of yourself.
Yes, definitely.
and when we are talking about comparison, right, to US shooting, not even nationals, but generally speaking, I'm not sure whether many of the shooters shooting in Europe are aware of that fact, but we have IPSC, right? It's an international association. And in America, we have a certain specific, I would say, type of IPSC, because you have USPSA, right? It is also a region of IPSC, but there are some quite huge differences, right?
Yes.
I mean, you have some differences in rules and also in the divisions, right?
Divisions,
yes. Can you describe us a little bit, because you shot so many, not only in USA, but also so many different matches in not only Mecz, but in Europe you shot also in France, right? And I think you mentioned Serbia.
Serbia, Czech Republic.
Yeah, Czech Republic, exactly. Extreme, very well-known match. And you also been in Thailand and many others, right? So you can have a comparison between IPSC all around the world and USPSA. Tell us more about the differences.
So in USPSA, the first difference I want to talk about is target. Targets are different. Target, there's two types of paper targets. One that looks like a human, almost like IDPA shape.
Okay.
Same shape, but different. A zone is more square.
Yeah.
In the IPSC, A zones are narrow on the top, narrow on the bottom. So you have to respect the accuracy even more. But in USPSA, the human-sized target, it has bigger A zone. And also there's a head box. So depending on the partial target, you may choose to shoot the head or the body. Depends.
Yeah.
But it's all brown. And I really enjoy shooting white targets in Poland. It's my first time shooting white colors.
Yeah, actually, my trainer always says to me that we should not shoot too much on white papers because it's easier. That's what he said. So yeah. So when we train, we are supposed rather to use normal cardboard, right, color. But sometimes, of course, white to just get used to it to shoot matches.
Yes.
So this is one thing you noticed. Also red as no-shoot, right?
Yes. And in the US, the popper steel targets, they have a head also.
Yep.
So in IPSC, it's just a circle and the base. But in USPSA, there's a circle and tiny little head on the top. So generically saying, the amount of confirmation when you shoot on your sight can be a lot less if you're shooting USPSA match. So that's why one reason the hit factor is high, and also people shoot faster. Because technically, you'll get a Charlie in IPSC if you shoot the corner.
Yeah.
In USPSA, it may still be an alpha.
Yeah, yes. Right. Also, I think there are some differences in. I mentioned this carry optics, and I said for those who know, who knows. Carry optics is a production optics division, an equivalent, right?
Yes.
But it's not the same.
Exactly.
So tell us more about the differences.
So in USPSA, there's no hip-on rule. That's the first. So you can position your holster appendix carry scenario.
Yeah.
So some people actually
a little bit like in open, right?
Yes, just like the open. So some people actually bring their appendix carry position. Some shooter concealed also, so that is possible.
Yeah.
And magazine capacity wise is a millimeter, not a round capacity.
Yeah. Like in standard.
Yes, like in standard, 140 millimeter mags, so that you can probably fit 23 rounds. Some people tune your magazine and fit 24 rounds, but it's not as reliable, so I don't do that. So generally 23 rounds is what you expect.
Yeah.
And another rule set would be more tuning is possible. In IPSC production or production optics, there's more restriction on the rules, but in USPSA, it doesn't have to be complete factory. You can buy aftermarket slide and put it on. You can have a slide cut, no ports, no compensators, but as long as it's not compensator, you can cut through the slide, make it slide a lot lighter. It's possible.
Also, I think you can install magwell, right?
Yeah.
It makes it
no,
easy-
no, no. Carry optics, no mag wells.
Oh, okay, okay.
But limited optics, which is a new division.
Yeah, it's
yes.
an equivalent of standard optics, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, which is still not in IPSC, but I hope it will be soon, perhaps.
Yes.
So it is possible to.
Yes. And you can use really longer barrel. So in IPSC production optics, I think the limit is 4 point whatever inches.
yeah.
Not a. If the barrel goes above 5 inches, it's not legal in IPSC. However, in USPSA, you may. So Glock 34 is allowed.
Yeah, that's correct. We are not allowed to use this one in production optics in Europe, for example, or just in IPSC, right?
And there's no trigger weight limit. So your double action on CZ can be, I don't know, 3 pounds or 2 pounds? Yes. There's no rule.
You have to be careful on a windy day, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So basically, what you are saying to me, not only the rules of the divisions are different, but also the targets. So I assume that it definitely influences the way of shooting, right? The style of shooting. I mean, of course, individually speaking, all the shooters has their own way of shooting, right? Their own style. Like JJ has his own. I would say Eric Graffel has also some specific characteristic for him way of shooting, right?
Yes.
Not to name all the other very well-known shooters, but I wanted to ask you. You are an American shooter.
Yes.
Perhaps of Korean root, but an American shooter. So you've seen also European shooting. Can you name some maybe general way of shooting that are typical for most of the Americans and most of the Europeans, for example? Sorry not to mention another areas, but I am European, Hwansik is from United States, so this is why we are comparing these two.
Yes. So how people value technique is a little bit different compared to US. USA, there's a lot of shooting on the move opportunity. Of course, the hit factor is high, so saving time is very important. So a lot of people try to shoot more on the move, even for their target, even if it means maybe Charlie, maybe even a Delta. If you're shooting on the move a lot, it may be okay.
Okay.
But in IPSC, if you drop a Charlie because hit factor is low, that can really sacrifice your total score.
Yeah.
So in IPSC, I tend to see a lot of shooters shoot, move, stop, shoot. But in USPSA, shoot, move as you shoot, move as you shoot. That's very, very common. And also, even when you are entering a position, a lot of the USPSA shooters fire the first shot even before the body settles.
Okay.
Yes, so one of the things that makes a difference is that. And one thing we practiced in our training was a paint the steel drill, in and out drill.
Yeah.
Those drills, it's really valuing the first shot firing soon by being prepared.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very important in US.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any? Of course, you are an American shooter, so you probably say you prefer the American style. But do you have your?
I actually prefer IPSC style.
Okay.
Yes.
You do so. Okay,
Yes.
and
because
tell
I
me-
like accuracy.
Right, correct. And since in the US, we have not mentioned that before, but in US there are nationals for in the rules of USPSA, right?
Yes.
And nationals in IPSC.
Yes.
Are you preparing yourself for to these two different nationals, so to say, in a different way, or you just shoot and just perhaps maybe thinking about, I need to focus more on accuracy this time, and during USPSA I need to think or focus about more about speed?
Yes, I would say there's two different things when I compare to US PSA nationals and IPSC nationals. Two things are different.
Yeah.
Number one, of course, in IPSC, even though it's US style IPSC nationals, typically saying there's a small course, medium course, large course, and especially in small, medium courses, you will see one-handed shooting more often than USPSA nationals.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of different challenges. So I would make sure my trigger control is perfect, especially with one-handed shooting. Because one-handed shooting, if I miss a shot or lose 30 points, that one stage can ruin my whole match.
Yeah.
And number two is amount of confirmation. because like I mentioned, IPSC style is triangle on the top
Yeah.
and the bottom. So it depends on how much I confirm on my site, the accuracy group is going to change. But in USPSA, again, it can be a little bit bigger group size.
Yeah.
But IPSC, usually I try to experiment, hey, what confirmation level give me a tight group not touching the triangle.
Yeah.
So confirmation change has to happen for IPSC targets. So before nationals for IPSC, I would go through drills, especially
Confirmation drill.
confirmation drill.
Yeah.
Not so much,
Not so much,
actually
okay.
designated target drill.
Okay.
But using the data from confirmation drill.
Yeah.
So I would do a lot of designated target drill with IPSC targets.
Okay.
And know exactly what type of confirmation is necessary. Depends on the distance. Of course, open target, top third no shoot, half no shoot, sideways no shoots, things like that.
Yeah. So there is a different attitude when you prepare yourself. That is interesting. Okay, let's talk about the training you made here. You had two groups, right?
Yes.
European shooters, mainly from Poland, of course, but not only. There were some German guys from Slovakia, one guy from Finland. This is what I remember at least. What were your expectations actually on European shooters you were supposed to teach? I mean, did you expect us to be of lower quality of skill or higher quality perhaps? Could you tell us?
Yes, I would say I was actually expecting somewhat similar to US shooters. Not the skill level, but the mindset.
Okay.
However, I actually think the students I taught here had maybe even stronger mindset than a lot of shooters in the US. I would say maybe because in the US, shooting is more hobby.
Yeah.
Not as serious sport. But over here, it's pretty serious sport. And when I was, hey, you need to do this. And over here in Poland, I've experienced students, okay, I'm gonna go. Hey, what's next? I wanna do it.
Yeah.
I wanna do the next. Let's go. Let's train. Let's shoot. So it was all together. I am always person as an instructor. I want my students shoot, learn.
Yeah.
And the students over here in Poland kept up very nice. Sometimes when I go to the US and teach over there, mainly I teach in US.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see students, they want to take a break. They don't want to do it harder. They were like, okay, I'll do it, I'll try. But over here, it was like, okay, let's do it. Let me do it. I want to do it.
Good job, guys.
Yes, very good.
That's
in
nice.
terms of shooting skill too. Shooting skill was actually above my expectation.
Okay.
Yes.
That is nice to hear. Yeah.
Because like I mentioned, in IPSC, it's typical to have more accuracy, but less speed or aggression or urgency. That's the word I use.
Yes.
But I saw a ton of urgency, ton of aggression in your shooting, you guys' shooting too.
Yeah.
So I was surprised.
That is nice. Good job again,
Yes.
guys. And you said you teach a lot in US.
Yes.
It was actually your first time in Europe teaching
Yes.
people. You've been only teaching like perhaps in Canada, right?
Yes.
Or outside US.
Yes, Europeans I've only taught through online training group.
Yeah. But it's not the last one, right? You are supposed to go to Switzerland, I think.
Switzerland in 2 months.
Yeah, but it's already sold out, right?
Yes, it's sold out in a week.
Yeah, well, perhaps you should overthink how to manage time next year for Europe. Perhaps there are still some more guys interested in
Yes.
in
I love
the
Europe,
classes.
so if you want a class, yes, please.
Yeah.
Let's do a class here, yes.
Okay. Also, a little bit different subject. We've been talking about this during our way to and back from the level 3 match we all both shot this weekend. We've been talking about this attitude, which is quite often, at least I see it like this, quite often visible in Poland. That, for example, many guys from police or other military, so to say, or guys who works with guns, right?
Yeah.
Who works with guns, they are not really very often not really willing to take part in competition. In IPSC, many guys also that are not military but just want to learn a little bit how to shoot. They are more into tactical world, and they diminish the thing that IPSC can offer them, right?
Yes.
Can you say about it how it looks like in US? Because actually I also mentioned to you about Yong Lee.
Yes.
Who you know actually, right?
Yes. Dear friend.
I saw his interview on Arik Levy's Firearms Nation. He presented this sort of thinking, but in Chicago police he used to be in service.
Washington State.
Washington State.
Yeah,
Sorry. Okay, but anyway, that was the case. It is still a case in US. How military in US treat USPSA?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yes. Historically, a long time ago, people used to say, especially if you're police, law enforcement, military, people might say, "Oh, that's a bad habit. It's not good."
Yeah.
But
the paper is.
Yes. That started changing.
Yeah.
Changing very fast. So nowadays I see a lot of police, a lot of military actually start competing. And I think maybe one of the reasons is back then when IPSC or USPSA shooters, good shooters, they start to teach military and law enforcement. And then they saw value of practical shooting.
Yeah.
And their shooting skill level went up, so which helps they work, in the field and do much better work. And I think it starts to go, I think at first, it started as a high-level unit in the military and law enforcement. And as they train with the competition shooters, practical shooting competitions, and the other people start to see and follow what the top military unit is doing. So now you'll see a lot more military and law enforcement competing in USPSA or inviting practical shooting instructors, like myself, to learn practical shooting.
Yeah, you actually mentioned about giving lessons to also to the military.
Yeah.
You also said about this funny history from, if we are allowed to say, Afghanistan, right? That guys in the military. Can you tell us about this? They shot.
From a fellow friend who was in the military in Afghanistan, I heard they would set up USPSA stages on their shooting range and then shoot their own USPSA style competition.
To practice.
Yeah. And compete each other.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's also...
To push each other.
Exactly. Yes. It's a little bit of stress that you put, a pressure that you put on yourself. And then the mistakes happen, right? So this is a funny thing. Because actually it is, for me, it is a little bit shocking that IPSC, which was actually made up by law enforcement officers, right?
Yes.
It was meant for police guys to level up. And after that, I heard this from Yong Lee on this interview that he was said not to go to USPSA because it will get him killed on the street, right? Right now it's changing in USA. I think it is also changing in Poland. We have, for example, Amadeusz Szyszka, who is also a military, not to mention exactly where, but he is our best shooter in PCC.
Yeah.
So I hope that many more will come after him and also compete, because I think it is worth a lot for a military, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've been talking for a while. Right now, I'm not gonna take you too much time, but thank you for this opportunity. It was really nice to meet you, man. I hope that you promise, and you have to say it to the camera right now, that you promise that you are going to take part in Polish nationals. Maybe not this year, but next year for sure.
Yes, I will definitely put it in my calendar next year. This year,
cross your heart.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so we see you next year, competing with each other. I am also a production optics shooter, so hopefully next year we can see.
Yes, next year I'll bring my gun, my optic,
yes,
so they don't break. Yes.
And you are not going to have 4 intensive days of training, right?
Oh, maybe,
Before.
maybe. We'll see, we'll see. Depends.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you guys, and subscribe or whatever you want to do. Do you know any Polish words already?
Oh, kurwa.
Yeah, this is usually the first word.
Very important word.
Of course, absolutely.